Alright guys, and welcome back for a new review. Today we're going to take a look at the 12-inch Marvel Legends Iron Man. Pretty cool packaging on these 12-inch versions of the Marvel Legends. They have that reflective window box packaging, which is pretty nice. Taking a look at the side, you see unmasked Iron Man, which is Tony Stark. Bringing around to the back, you got a pretty cool image of Iron Man and some nice other shots of the details of the figure. Into another nice shot of Iron Man. So I'm going to go ahead and crack this open and give you guys a better look at Iron Man. Stay tuned. Okay, here is Shellhead out of the package. Pretty nice looking figure. Just go ahead and show you the detail. I like the armor design. I'm not really sure what mark suit this is supposed to represent. One thing that really kind of catches you right off the bat is the gold. It definitely has a really nice shine and color to it. I really like the gold. The red, I think it leaves a little something to be desired. It does still kind of look plasticky to me. I think if they would have just took the extra step to either mold this in a richer red color, it would have went a long way to sell it. You'll also kind of notice the marbleization of the plastic. I don't like that. It could work for some figures on some parts, but with this, you know, you just see the swirls of the plastic mixed together. It comes across as kind of cheap. It doesn't sell it as painted armor, so I don't like that. The gold is great, but the red, not bad, but not really too good either. The head itself, though, really nice design. I like the way they did the paint apps with the white eyes and the blue surrounding it, so that looks sharp. There is some silver details, as you see in the collarbone area. The arc reactor is pretty interesting. If we'll focus here, what's interesting about it is the fact that they got an actual piece of plastic over it. It's really clear, so it's there. You go. You can kind of see it now. That's a nice detail. You know, of course, we don't get a light up effect with this particular piece, but it does look nice. It almost looks like he's off, though, because anytime Iron Man's walking around, he's kind of got that blue glow. And yeah, it would kind of look cheap if they just had a blue, you know, bluish white tint there. I do like the way this looks better, but I don't know. You tell me. I don't know how I feel about that. Like that it's more detailed, but on the other end of it, it doesn't look fully activated. But the other essence of the armor looks good and it functions good. So we'll just go quickly over the articulation. So the head is on a ball joint that's on a hinge. So left and right is fine, and you can hinge up quite a bit. So flight poses, no problem. Looks down quite a bit. Again, it's on a hinge, so you can kind of mess with it to make it look further down. The shoulders go fully out to the side, so that's really good. That arm's slightly loose. Upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. These joints are really tight. And then a hinge and swivel at the wrist. And what's nice about that is as you hinge it out for like a repulsor blast, this part has kind of got a little articulation, so it kind of gets out of the way, which is perfect. No, let's see. No butterfly joint on that. He does have an upper torso joint, so that one can go to the side, which is good. Really good pivot there. It goes back about that far, and forward that far. That's pretty good. A lower ab crunch, so with that you can combine it and really you get him into a really vertical twist there, and then also back so you can get a really big arch. So excellent articulation there. There's no swivel, but there is a swivel in the upper. So with that, kind of bounces back a little bit actually. Legs go forward only this much, so it's really terrible because of the design. Hot Toys has like this whole articulated thing that moves out of the way. Obviously for this they're not going to go that far, so it doesn't go out very far that way either. So very little forward, very little out. It does have a double jointed knee and then a hinge and pivot at the boot. Okay, so let's talk accessories. So with this figure, you get 2 sets of hands, fisted, both left and right, and it's got this nice little detail on the back, and then also the repulsor blast hands, left and right. They just poured in with those pegs, no problem. Really cool effects. So the effects, you can attach that to the hand via the peg, so it creates the repulsor blast. Also functions, you get 2 of these of course. You can use them for his feet. They do port in down there at the bottom as well, so you can have him in a flight pose. Of course there's no stand provided, so you'd have to bring your own to that party. And then into the extra heads, you get 2 heads. You get the actual armored head and then the Tony Stark head. Tony Stark head is pretty good actually. Of course we're not getting like super high detail. This is like a comic book version, so eyes are painted well, skin tone's pretty good, lips are a little orange. The hair's even got a wash of like a gray in there, so that kind of looks cool. Definitely get that comic book Tony Stark, you know, feel. Do like that. Not a bad head sculpt. Just pops on that ball joint. And then definitely the armored head I do like quite a bit. Gold is awesome. Awesome paint on that. Just wish the red was as nice. It's not bad. Again, you know, don't get me wrong, it's not a horrible looking red, but for the 12-inch line I would have liked to seen just a little better effort on that color. It is glossy, you know, it doesn't look all bad, but it still has a bit of a plasticky look to it. And they did do the black detail around the mouth, so that looks good. So that's it for accessories. And here's a quick look at the Tony Stark head on the Iron Man figure, so you get an idea of how it looks. I think it looks pretty good, not terrible. And also the blast effect, so not terrible at all. Looks pretty good. Again, if you like used to Hot Toys figures or something, this is not going to blow you away or even compare in that regard. And of course the price is quite different too. Pick this up at BBTS for $35. You know, your average Iron Man from Hot Toys is $250 plus, so it's not fair to really compare the two. But there will be a comparison, at least in the height, to them coming up. Okay, size comparison. Here he is next to the Hot Toys Tony Stark and the Hot Toys Silver Centurion. So he is taller than the Tony Stark figure, and actually just a hair taller, a hair shorter actually than the Hot Toys Silver Centurion. Again, this isn't a comparison in quality. Obviously, you can see there's really no comparison to like paint quality and all of that. It's 2 different leagues, 2 different price points. But as far as the scale goes, it's definitely pretty close. It does fit into the scale of 1/6 scale really well. And obviously, if you want a closer look the head sculpt in comparison to the Marvel Legends. You can see, once again, this is not a fair comparison. But in case any of you were wondering what I was talking about with Hot Toys, that is the difference. And another little size comparison. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends 12-inch Spider-Man and Marvel Legends 12-inch Deadpool. He is taller than both of them, a lot taller than Spidey and a little taller than Deadpool, so that definitely looks right to me. The guy in an armored suit should be bigger, so I like the way that looks. Scale works perfectly within the Legends. Alright, and here he is in a flight pose. One of the effects that this figure does really well, thanks to the articulation. I think it looks really good with the head articulation and the blast effects. So it definitely gives a realistic looking pose to the flight. Only thing is, there's only 2 effects, so you know, if you want to just have him using it for his feet, that's fine. But if you wanted it with the hands and the feet, like he's hovering, you're kind of left hanging. But still really cool, and I'm really digging that. That looks awesome. Okay, and here he is kind of in that hovering pose I was talking about. Kind of looks pretty cool. You definitely accomplished some pretty cool poses with that. Of course, you need a flight stand, which this figure does not. Okay, so final thoughts on Iron Man. I like the figure. I think it's pretty good. Definitely not my favorite from the wave. I think the figure has good proportions and really good articulation until you get to those hips. We had that issue a little bit with Spider-Man not being able to do much of the splits, but everything else was great. This guy, not only can he not do the splits, he could barely get into a walking pose thanks to that hip articulation, so that's not that great. It does look really good. It's a pretty sharp looking figure. The gold pops. The red is a little bit of a letdown. Not terrible, but not great. It is going to look nice next to your rest of your 12-inch Marvel Legends, so it does the job of looking good. Is it worth the price point? Regular retail is $50. That's a little high. The BBTS clearance sale at $35 seems pretty reasonable. You know, $15 more than your standard $20 Marvel Legend is more than reasonable for a 12-inch figure. The quality of the plastic is pretty good, aside from the swirling. And it's a pretty solid figure. I mean, Iron Man, while would benefit from better articulation in the hips, doesn't need it. So, in that regard, I do recommend the figure. I think it's pretty sharp looking. If I was going to rank the figures that I have now, which is Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Deadpool, Spider-Man would be number 1. Now, as far as between Deadpool and this guy, I like the Deadpool figure better. However, I think the proportions are better on Iron Man. Deadpool kind of ended up with the big head syndrome, and I think that came down to using the bigger head and using parts from the Spider-Man body. They kind of threw the proportions off. The proportions on this guy look really good. The alternate head isn't as nice as the Deadpool's alternate head, which is his Tony Stark, but it is definitely passable. Not a horrible head sculpt. It's definitely a comic book inspired head. So in that regard, it's not bad. But that's it, guys. That's my thoughts on the 12-inch Marvel Legends Iron Man. Let me know in the comments below what you think of it. And that's it until next time.